Hello guys, this is Norgard, and today I wanted to bring you my virtual world deck for this format. This is the Brave version that I play right now, small Brave version. You'll see later what that means. I believe that Brave virtual world is the best way to play it. Obviously, Brave is the meta-defining thing right now, so if you can play it, you want to play it, and it's probably better to play it than not. So I think this is stronger than the punk version, although the punk version is very consistent, so that's also a consideration if you want to go that route. But I think overall this list is the best one. So let's go into the card by card. We will just go through the virtual world cards as always, very quickly because I don't think I have to explain them. So 3 Lulu, 3 Lily, 3 Lao Lao, 3 Gigi, and 1 Nian. So this is in order of how important they are in this version. Lily is much more important in this version because you want to make Beatrice a lot. Lao Lao same because Lao Lao in itself is a Beatrice. And then we run 1 Nian because we don't run Desirous. So instead of running the normal summon, we cut it down so we have more space because Brave Engine is very hard to fit. That's why I'm playing the small one. Running the big Brave Engine, you kind of have to either go over 40 or you have to go cut engine, which I don't think is correct, or you have to cut hand traps, which is also kind of coin flip dependent then. So for the other virtual world cards, 3 City obviously, 3 Qinglong, same reasoning as with the Nian. We don't run Desires, so we don't have to run it at 3. In the punk version, I like it at 3 because it's a very good discard. In this version, you kind of, before you discard with a Brave Engine, you often have to get into Beatrice first. So then 2 Chuche, standard, 1 Janwu, also standard. So that's it for the VW cards. And honorary VW card, E-Teller, gets you Lulu, gets you Nian, and also gets you Ghost Ogre. So even if you have combo, and you can just set the E-Tailer to get at Ghost Ogre. So for the small Brave package, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Just these 6, so you have 3 cards here to actually hard draw the Brave Engine. And then these 3 cards, this is the brick. This sometimes you can just use anyway. You don't have to have a token to summon this. If you don't have a monster, you can just special summon it anyway. And then this card also can get you the Griffin, get you a discard, maybe you have a Qinglong in hand, but you want to see these, you don't want to see these. And they're always accessible because of Beatrice. Then we have the 1 called by, get out of jail free. I was thinking about cutting this for another hand trap. So I have 9 instead of 8. I run 8 hand traps right now, but I think it's just too good not to run still. Your plays go through, and you can out Scythe with it, you can out DPE with it. It's just very versatile. For the hand traps, we run 3 Ash, 2 Ogre, 3 Imperm. Just the most versatile hand traps. If you want, you can play 1 more Ogre, but I think Impermanence just hits Ogre hits the top meta better, but I think just going. I like casting a wide net. My lists, I go very basic, so I like Impermanence. Feel free to adjust to your local meta. And then the last card in the deck, the most fun card in the format, Artifact Scythe. So I was debating whether I want Artifact Scythe or Fairy Tale Snow. So the thing about Scythe is the Scythe combo does lose to Droplet, but a lot of people have been cutting Droplet, and if the Scythe combo goes through, you basically win the game, especially as VW, which has an insane grind game. Whereas Snow lets you have an extra extra disrupt in the grave, which plays better on Droplet, but obviously it's easier to play through than just the Scythe, which just skips the opponent's turn. So if you don't want to go the Scythe route, you can go for a more well-rounded approach with Fairy Tale Snow. That's it for the main deck, 40 cards, and let's go into the extras. So standard stuff. We have Shen Shen, we still run the Crystal Wing combo. We run Vermilion Dragon Mech. We run the 2/6 that draw a card. Run 1 Juju. And then for the stuff that's new with the Brave Engine that we play, we can actually make 7s now, so we play Yazi. Yazi is pretty nice because you can pop something with it and itself, and then it can special a worm from your deck, so you can special Lily or Gigi out of your deck, and then have a target for your VW plays. Then we have Baron. This card is just insane. Having an Omnigate in VW is just so good. So basically with a Brave Engine, you just always play under a negate if you have it. Another 10, you need another 10 in this case because you will end up with the level 4 token and the Griffin Rider. You will synchro the Griffin Rider or the token off, 6 or 3 for Baron, and then you have one of the other left. So you have to go into another 10, or if it's the token, you have to go into another 7. Another 7 I didn't like to play because there wasn't really a good one. For example, Dawn Dragster was an option, but Cheng Ying is actually just very, very strong and very hard to out. Fun fact, if Shen is on board, anything leaving the board, say you have Cheng Ying, Shen and an Imperm, you Imperm something, and then the Imperm gets banished because of Shen, and then Cheng Ying can banish something. Also, you could just say like you need a disrupt, and you could go and Chuche your own Cheng Ying, protect itself, and then banish something from the grave. Obviously, that would require your Chuche not being able to target the opponent's monster, but there's actually a lot more ways to trigger him than you would think. So that's it for the synchros. And for the XZs, we have the star of the show, Beatrice. With the advent of the Brave Engine, Beatrice is just such a good card to put your resources into. Like 1 Lalo makes Beatrice, which gets you the full Brave setup, and also gets you another mill, which could be either Snow or Scythe. It's just so strong. Then we have M7, it's standard. We have Zeus package. The Gaia is very important here because once you have your Beatrice resolved, it will have 0 materials. So even if your opponent manages to out the rest of the board, they also have to respect the Beatrice that's sitting in death, because if not, you can turn them to attack, go into something, and then you make a Zeus on top of it. And then for the level 3, I still swear by the Break Sword. I just like going second cards. That's it for the main. So let's go into the side deck. For the side deck, I actually have a bunch of hand traps, because going second, you can actually, because you're on the small Brave Engine, you can actually consider siding it out, because you run like 3 bricks and 3 other cards. So going second, it's not as good, because if you draw one of these bricks, it's very much harder to play into a board. So we play 3 Nib, we play the 3rd Ogre, and we play 3 Lancia. Lancia just insane this format. And then for the other cards, we play 1 Pankratops, just like very strong going second card. Next, my philosophy is to never have more than 3 going first card on the side. These are the going first card that I chose. Just a small note, this can also be sided going second, obviously, but these are just basically Beatrice targets. If you want to shut this down, Flunderies, for example, shuts down Tri-Brigade if anyone's still on that, and then Token Collector is also very good against Sword Soul and Brave stuff. And for the rest, I have just back row removal. I opted to go for Cosmo Cyclone because first of all, I wanted to have a quick spell, because I think stuff like Feather Duster or Lightning Storm are not that good, because if they flip something and you cannot react to it with a card, for example, like Anti-Spell, you cannot out Anti-Spell with Duster, so it's not really doing much. I could have gone Twin Twister, which I had before, but I went for Cosmo because as VW, you have a very good matchup against back row decks anyway. So instead, I wanted something to out key cards that disrupt me. For example, that 1 Floodgate that stops me from playing into the board and setting up Chuche. and also Cosmic Cyclone outs Scythe. So if you know where the Scythe is, which you often do because they use Dagda, you can actually, they go DPE, you Cosmic Cyclone the Scythe, and then they have to pop something else on their board. And also the Scythe is banished, so it doesn't come back. And then Red Reboot, just add one slot left. I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to play one more back row removal card, and this is the highest impact one. Same logic as before, I wanted to react to the opponent's back row. Alright, that's it for the side. Let's show you just the main combo to go into your Scythe-lock. So we just go the most basic hand, which is Lulu City, and just add 3 ashes, just add something. Alright. So obviously you start off by playing Kowloon to get your Chuche. You go Lulu, target Chuche, and put into the grave Qinglong, and then it specials, and you add your Lili. Lili will then activate, targeting Lulu. You send a Chuche and another Qinglong for follow-up. Then, because you have a target on board, so one small thing to note is with this playing around Nib and such, you can actually go Griffin on 5 if you just have 2 monsters here and then go into the Beatrice play, but you have to have another target for following VW effects. So in this case, it would be Chuche. Another thing that would work is a Janwu in the grave, so you can set up a VW body after. In this case, we have the Chuche, so we don't have to worry about anything. If you cannot provide a target for VW effects, you can just go for the Zolkin play here if you want to play around Nibiru, and then just use Lalo to make Beatrice after. But in this case, we can go Chuche, increase the level of Lulu, and then we overlay those two to go into Beatrice, which will then detach the Lili. I think it was Lili, and then you mill the Aquamancer. And you go Aquamancer effect to banish, and add to your hand the Rite of Artemisia. You activate it, get a token, and you get your adventure. Then you're going to activate the effect. You could summon to get the equip card here, to then discard the equip card to get Griffin, but then you would play into Nib. And also, you still have the Qinglong engraved, so you will have a way to discard the equip later anyway. So, adding the Griffin Rider, discarding one of your cards in hand, and you go Griffin Rider effect to special it, triggering the adventure, which then adds the equip to your hand. So now if you count it, we have as your summons, Lulu is 1, Lili is 2, 3, 4, 5. Plays under Nib. So now you can go banish the Qinglong to add Lao Lao to your hand. And then you discard the equip, which will then equip to your token. And then you go, I actually realized you actually have to detach Lulu here. So let me just fix that real quick. So Lulu is in the grave. All right. So then you go Lalo on the Chuche. And you can mill Nian. Special the Lalo. And get back the Lulu. So you don't have to trigger Nian here because it will just stay on the field, useless. So you can then go Synchro Lulu and the Griffin Rider to go into Burn the Fleur. And then you go with the token and the Lalao. So then get the equip into the grave. Changing. All right. So your board now is a negate. You have Chenying, you have Chuche with setup. Chuche and Qinglong are banished. You have Beatrice with one material, and you have follow-up in the grave with Qinglong, and you also have 2 cards in hand still. If you can extend any further than this, obviously you want to make Shen with it. Shen is just very strong as a more follow-up and also a Floodgate. But during the opponent's draw phase, you can then go activate Beatrice to detach. Note that if they want to negate Beatrice with Imperm, for example, you have the Baron negate. So that helps you play under it, unless they have droplets, obviously. So, and then in the standby phase, you can activate Baron effect. Again, if they want to Imperm it, you can negate it. So shuffle back, and then special the Scythe. Now, if they kept the Imperm and say, okay, now that the Omni negate is gone, I'm going to use the Imperm on the Scythe, you can actually go and say, I chain Chuche to the Imperm, shuffling back your banished cards, pop your own Scythe, and the Imperm will resolve without a target. So they are under the Scythe lock, and as your follow-up, you have Chuche on field, you have Qinglong on grave, you have a Nian setup, you have Zeus play to threaten, you still have Qingling, which is very hard to out, and you have 2 cards in hand, which in this case was hand traps. So that's how you scythe your opponent with VW. This is my list. Let me know in the comments below, what list do you think is the best VW list? Do you think Punk is better? Do you think Pure is better with more hand traps? Do you think Brave is better with like a full Brave engine? Which is probably better, because just drawing into the Brave engine by itself is very good. But this is what I wanted to go with because I wanted to play hand traps. I don't like being very dependent on going first, so I want to play more hand traps. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.